We almost went extinct 900,000 years ago. 900,000 years ago, the entire human species almost disappeared. Not almost as in, that was close. Almost as in, we were down to about 1,280 breeding individuals. That's less than the number of people in a small high school. Scientists figured this out by looking at DNA from people alive today. They reverse engineered our genetics like reading a recipe backwards to figure out what ingredients were used. At some point, genetic diversity in humans just bottlenecks, like a highway with 6 lanes suddenly squeezing down to 1. There are more employees at a single Amazon warehouse right now than there were breeding humans on the entire planet. This bottleneck lasted about 117,000 years, longer than modern humans have even existed as a species. We don't know exactly what caused it. Maybe a massive climate shift, maybe a supervolcano, maybe just a really bad stretch of luck. Every single person alive today came from that tiny group. Your entire family tree, every ancestor you've ever had, traces back to fewer than 1,300 people huddled somewhere just trying to survive another day. If even a handful of them had given up, you wouldn't be here watching this video. Number 9. The 476,000-year-old wooden structure. Scientists found 2 logs in Zambia that broke history in half. These logs were shaped and fitted together on purpose. Someone cut notches into them so they would lock together, like ancient IKEA instructions, except the manual is 476,000 years old, and nobody lost the Allen wrench. 476,000 years ago, our species did not even exist yet. Modern humans only showed up around 300,000 years ago, so whoever built this was not us. It was an earlier human relative, and they were already building structures out of wood. We used to think ancient humans were basically just wandering around, sleeping on dirt, eating whatever they could grab, but this changes that completely. This thing required planning. It required someone to look at a log and think, I am going to reshape this to fit another log. That is not survival instinct, that is engineering. Scientists also found stone tools right next to the structure. Someone built a workshop, or a platform, or maybe just the world's first porch, because apparently even ancient humans needed somewhere to sit and watch the sunset. The wood survived because it was buried near a waterfall, in wet conditions that preserved it. Finding wood this old is like finding a snowflake from the Ice Age still perfectly frozen in your freezer. It just should not exist, but it does, and it means the story of human intelligence starts way earlier than we thought. Number 8. A 3,000-year-old crime scene. Scientists just solved a murder case. The victim was a pharaoh. The crime was 3,000 years old. Ramesses III was one of the most powerful men who ever lived. He commanded armies, he built temples, and someone killed him anyway. For a long time, nobody knew exactly how he died. The mummy was there, but the neck was wrapped so tightly in linen that nobody could see what was underneath. Then scientists ran the mummy through a CT scanner, and what they found was not subtle. His throat had been cut so deeply it went all the way to his spine. Death would have been almost instant. Historians already had a suspect list. Ancient Egyptian documents called the Harem Conspiracy Papers recorded a plot to kill Ramesses III. His own wife, Queen Tiye, organized it. She wanted her son Pentawere to take the throne instead of the chosen heir, so she recruited palace officials, military officers, and servants. Like a heist movie, except the heist was a murder, and the target was the most powerful man in Egypt. The ancient Egyptians actually caught them. Pentawere was found guilty, and apparently forced to hang himself. His mummy was found buried without proper funeral rites, wrapped in a goatskin, which in ancient Egypt was the ultimate insult. The ancient Egyptians solved the case themselves. Scientists just confirmed it with better equipment. Number 7. The Ice Age solar calendar. For a long time, we thought cave paintings were just art. Like ancient humans were bored and decided to redecorate their walls. Those dots and lines carved next to the animals aren't decoration. They're a calendar, a 20,000-year-old calendar. The carvings show dots arranged in sequences next to images of animals. Scientists noticed the dot counts kept matching up with months of the year, specifically, the lunar months leading up to when those animals would mate or migrate. When you see a drawing of a salmon with 11 dots next to it, that means the salmon run starts in month 11. It's basically a sticky note, except the sticky note is carved into a cave wall and survives 20,000 years. These people weren't just surviving day to day, they were planning months ahead. They knew winter was coming and they were writing it down. The carvings were found across multiple cave sites in Europe, France, Spain, Germany, all using the same system, which means this wasn't one smart person's idea. This was a shared language, a shared technology, spread across thousands of miles before the internet, before writing, before anything we'd normally call civilization. We didn't invent the concept of tracking the year, we just forgot that someone already did it, 20,000 years ago, in a cave, with a rock. Number 6. The oldest known cheese. Scientists found traces of cheese inside ancient Egyptian tombs, 3,200 years old, older than most religions, most languages, and definitely older than your fridge. Someone, thousands of years ago, looked at milk that had gone solid and lumpy, and instead of throwing it out, they thought, I'm going to eat that, and then, I'm going to put it in my tomb, for the afterlife, because apparently, wherever you're going after death, you're going to want a snack. The cheese was found in a broken jar buried with an ancient official named pt.1. Scientists identified it by analyzing the proteins left behind. It was made from a mix of cow's milk and sheep or goat's milk. Even back then, people were already getting fancy with their dairy blends, but the cheese also contained traces of a bacteria called brucella. That bacteria causes brucellosis. Symptoms include fever, sweating, and joint pain that can last for years. So the oldest known cheese in human history was also potentially deadly. Humanity has always been willing to risk death for a good meal.